It's a very busy night of news. I'm gonna go live on Instagram too. Thank you, YouTube friends, for joining me. Um, we have a lot going on tonight, so I wanted to go live on both. Hi, everybody. This is Julissa. Thank you so much for joining me this live tonight. I was just mentioning that I am also going live on YouTube because I figure why not? It's a very busy night for news right now. I'm trying to put the camera better. But I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. And you know, I had a whole plan thing to stuff that I wanted to share with you, and the news have been changing, right? So before I get to like talking about the actual news, I gotta say though, well, going into that right now they're having the Met Gala, right? And to be honest, well, let me just wait a little bit. Hi everybody, it's Monday night. This is Julissa. Thank you so much for joining me, and it's May 2nd, okay? I am talking to two cameras because I'm going live on YouTube as I'm speaking to you here on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming back and listening to my videos. I'm going to talk, I had a whole laid out plan to speak about fashion, right? And to speak about the Met Gala, but then the news has been changing a lot, right? So we just learned some news, and as of right now, they're expecting a protest on the Supreme Court, and I'm gonna read to you guys this headline, so just bear with me one moment because I have to talk to you guys about the news because I have the YouTube audience right now live. So it says here, okay, in case you haven't heard the news yet, it says here security has stepped up and barricades, they're putting barricades right now at the US Supreme Court building in DC for a possible protest that's going to start at midnight tonight, okay? So we are definitely living in history times, okay? What just happened in the Supreme Court became news, it's trending right now, also with the mega, right? That's a whole different thing, but they're putting up barricades because they're expecting a big protest, okay? And we all know what that's all about, right? So the biggest news so far for tonight is that the Supreme Court has voted to strike down versus Wade according to the initial draft, okay? So in case you didn't know, that's the breaking news right now. I understand a lot of you guys probably think that I was going to talk to you guys about fashion, all of that, which I am, right? So just bear with me. I have to give you the breaking news because, like I always said, if if you have followed me on YouTube, also, I always mention you have to be aware of what's happening in the world. You can't just be fashion, 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 outfit of the day. I don't care about anything else. You have to understand like what's happening, okay? And that is the reason I think why I started to talk about the news and things like that. So that's the big breaking news right now, everybody. So I was gonna come here and tell you guys about the Met Gala, right? To be honest, I really don't know. Like, to be honest, people would think, I know some people would think that me being a fashion designer or like a person into the fashion industry, like I'm so interested on what the Met Gala or looking at their outfits and things like that. And I'm like so not interested on that. It is so crazy. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for the hearts. So I'm just waiting for more people to join here, especially on YouTube. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for being here. Check out the store, and so the Met Gala is happening right now, and you see all these celebrities, all like you know, I'm not trying to bash anybody, nothing like that, but it's just such a strange thing for me, the Megala, because it's like they dress up all of that. And actually thought the Megala was back in October, but then I remember I think they do it in May, and then they look at like all dressed up and like it's so strange for me, so weird because like I said, people would think that I'm watching that like a hawk trying to see who's wearing what and like who like has the best outfit, the most crazy outfits, because I'm sure they do it like to me. I don't even know what they do inside there, like like what goes inside of there. They walk the red carpet, they walk up all these steps, and then that's it. Like you don't hear nothing else about it. Like who's gonna be singing, nothing like that. So it's like, what's the point here? Like I don't understand. But It's been going on for forever. I think I don't even know for how long, but that's the main thing. But one thing that made the news, I gotta talk about this because this is important, and it goes along with fashion and discovering your talent and seeing how the industry is, right? So we all know, you know, I'm a fashion designer, and when I heard about the news that Case Bay passed away, let me get you the sad day because you see these names on your handbag, right? And you see this name in the back of your dress, and you don't really think that that is an actual person, but it is, right? Somebody gave their name to a brand, right? They in that I love learning about my brand history. I love looking at photos from the beginning. Okay, you can see the start. This is why I've been talking a lot here about how I started, right? And what was my first event and all of that. And when I saw that Case Bay passed away, right? And I just couldn't believe it. So it was just like, wow, this person, you think that people like that, like, why would they be sad, right? How can they feel like lonely? How can they feel, because these people have a luxury life, right? This is what we think in our head, right? They have luxury life. They are, they have a lot of stores, a lot of money. They can buy any house they want. But then the true joy, like I'm gonna say many times, guys, true joy only comes from having Jesus Christ in your life. Okay, the peace of God that passes all understanding. Have you ever seen something like you are like waiting for money to come in, like you're expecting to get a raise or something, and then that comes up, right? You're like, I can't wait to get this money because once I have it, I'm gonna be so happy. I'm gonna do this and the other, and then that money comes, you get that direct deposit, it could be like your tax return or whatever. That money comes, and then you like, now I have to deal with another problem, right? And it's like people say, money buys happiness. Like there's a lot of rich people out there who are not happy at all. If anything, they're like the opposite for many different reasons, right? There are people who have so much money they cannot go out, like out on the street on their own. They cannot take a walk to the park on their own, right? They have to s- like have so much security for that money, make sure like nobody's following them when they go to the store. And it's like this world is teaching you to love money, to love possessions. But a lot of people who have all of that are so depressed because they don't have Jesus in their heart, right? And that's something that we have to be so careful about. And this is why so many like Anthony Bourdain, right? We learn about all these big celebrities that can do anything. They can walk into a Netflix office and sign a multi-million dollar contract, but then they don't they cannot enjoy their life, right? They have so much potential, but they cannot enjoy their life. And I'm not speaking like specifically, I don't know what their life connection, what their relationship with Jesus Christ was, to be honest. But you know God gives you the peace. You know when somebody has the Holy Spirit inside of them, it shows by the fruit, right? It shows by their peace that they have within them, right? So God, I always ask us to look at the fruit. So the other thing is like, when you are, the Bible talks about selling your soul for fame and fortune, right? And then you see these celebrities like Case Bay. I'm speaking about her today because of what happened over the weekend, right? Let me tell you. So she passed away. um did she really pass away that? Yeah, it was in 2018. So Kay Spade, the famous handbag designer, she also did fashion. I can close my eyes and see her logo. This is she like that logo with Kay Spade is so like engraving our minds. At least me as a fashion person, it is because I've seen it so many times. So she passed away in June 5th, 2018. And the whole thing, how she passed away, I don't want to get into details here, right? We don't want to talk about that. But you would think somebody like that have like a whole huge company, so many stores, so much money, she can buy any house she wants. And then she was dealing with depression, right? And you wonder what is that, right? Because we think in our heads that money can buy happiness, or society have put that engraved on us, right? And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like you wait for that direct deposit to come, and then you like, like it came and went. Like I didn't even see it. Something else come up. Like I had to fix my car, whatever it was, right? Something else came up, And then you think about, the Bible talks about don't worry about tomorrow, right? And this is why it's so important to just live in the moment and like look at the day that you have in front of you. That's basically all we have. Just like we don't know when we come in like into this world, we don't know when we're gonna leave. So enjoy the moment for what it is, right? The Bible talks about tomorrow will bring its own troubles, right? So a lot of people wait, if once I get the job, like I'm gonna be so happy. Once I do this, I'm gonna be so happy. Like one example for me, this is so crazy because I always wanted to have my own place, right? And when I finally signed my lease, this is how crazy life is. I signed my lease, I moved in, and I came like dropped something that I had in my apartment, closed the door and left because my mom had gotten sick. And throughout those the first 2 years, I was like, I can't even enjoy my place. I wanted it so bad. I'm like, I can't wait to have my own, apartment. And then now that I have it, like I'm not even there because I have to, go see how my mom is and she got sick and all of that. And anything can happen. The Bible talks about don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow brings its own troubles, right? You never know what's gonna happen. So let me tell you. So what happened with Case Bay, right, over the weekend? We know so that 2018, a couple years back, she died, and it was a very sad thing because of the way she was found and all of that. But the makeup company, we all know makeup is huge right now. I'm looking over here because I have YouTube here live too. So we all know makeup is a huge thing. It was like what 2010 2011 that makeup just became like fashion was up here and the makeup just went all the way to the top. Like makeup took such a huge boom, and I remember just everybody like I knew like they all just wanted to do it was makeup, right? And like I told you guys, I used to work at a store, and we went from like bringing new clothing brand to just making space to bring out makeup counters, and like they hire makeup artists for people can come and do their makeup. And it was like, wow, makeup is taking over the entire store. And Ulta Cosmetic, right? Everybody knows that store, Ulta. I think that's how you pronounce it. So they did a talking about Case Bay, right? So in case you didn't see it over the weekend, they sent a marketing email over the weekend regarding Case Bay, and it was just so shocking that a company will do something like that. And I understand. Let me tell you, I understand everybody makes mistake. Okay, I understand, and me speaking from like a tiny little small business compared to everything that I'm talking about. Sometimes I will come and post something and like I'll leave it and then come back and I'm like, did I misspell that completely? Like, are you kidding me? Proofread everything before you post it, right? And so they actually had to release an apology letter. Auto Cosmetic came out with a marketing email over the weekend. It was sent to all their customers, so you can understand the amount of people that email reached, right? And it basically said, this is so sad because he said, come hang with K Spade, yours with $50 online purchase. He said, Ulta Beauty, come hang with K Spade, and it was saying, fragrance today, you get $50 purchase. But they actually came back and took that, right? Because how offensive that is, right? And somebody who probably doesn't, you know, maybe they're new into the industry, they don't know how things work, whatever it could be. We're not trying to find excuses, but we're not perfect, right? Anybody can make a mistake. And maybe when they were talking about come hang with K Spade, perhaps they were just referring to the brand, right? Not actual person. But the thing is like when these designers they create their name a brand, they are a company, right? This is why you will see so many designers when they pass, their brand stays on forever, right? And their name, right? You see their name everywhere, and then they sell their company and they you see their name, and it's like I sometimes I think about that, because when I'm very ambitious, right? So I always think about the higher thing. So I'm like, if I ever had to like sell my brand, I'm like, they better not take out the glory to God because that would kill me. I would not settle for nothing else, and I would never probably sell it. But anyways, that's just me an example, when I was younger, thinking in that type of level mentality, right? But then Ulta Beauty. So then they kind of retracted back and they wanted to apologize to Ulta Beauty because they sent this marketing email saying, come hang with Kay Spain. We know she passed away in 2018 from a mental illness, and you guys understand what that means, right? So it's just crazy, but it tells you that the whole idea, everything that's happening right now in the Supreme Court, the regards for life in society has gone down a lot, okay? And we see it everywhere. We see it when people are commenting on you, like anybody commenting on you. You have to understand that every comment that you say is going to a person that has feelings, okay? That you don't know how that person is feeling that day, and they're just putting their best foot on the door for you to just use your words to completely take that down, right? There's no disregard for human life anymore. We see, I in my YouTube channel, in case you didn't know, I was talking about today about the stabbing that happened in a high school in Massachusetts earlier, and it's like, what is going on? Like last week, something similar happened, and I was thinking, like, what is going on with the youth? Like, are you kidding me? Okay, these people are supposed to go to school to study, learn, right? Like, where are these young people getting knives from, getting guns from? Like, why is this even happening? Okay, and we see a lot of people dealing with mental illness, right? That's huge. We saw what happened with Chelsea Chris. People were saying, she was being so attacked online, so much so, and I was able to see that. I did a couple videos on her from my YouTube channel, and when I saw, you can actually see it on TikTok, right? You go to Chelsea Chris TikTok and you see what people were commenting right before she passed. And it's like, are you kidding me? And yes, people say, hurt people hurt others. But it's like, what's the need? Like you're thinking in your head, you're gonna feel better by saying negative comment like that to a person, especially somebody like her, because we know she's Miss Universe, like that level, like people dream about something like that in their life, right? And she achieved all of that. She was having a television show. She had a luxury apartment in New York City, and then she was being completely attacked online verbally, because a lot of times verbal abuse is even worse than physical, right? We all know that. So, there is no like compassion anymore. Like people are so quick to tell you something, right? It could be anybody. A lot of strangers would comment on your outfit without disregarding, like, come on, I just left my house. Like, be a little more nice, right? And then, like, you have to understand, like I said, everybody that you see online, like before you even say something, like everybody owns a mirror, okay? Sometimes I feel like people think that everybody's walking around so oblivious to life. Like, really? You think my lips are too big? Really? I had no idea. You think I'm tall? Oh my goodness. I lived all these years, never realized I was tall compared to other people. Like, everybody owns a mirror. Like, people need to like calm down a little bit. Nobody's trying to be Christopher Columbus, so you're not gonna discover, like, everybody owns a mirror, okay? And you can find a mirror anywhere. But people somehow they get some type of satisfaction by pointing things out at you that are so obvious, right? That's the other thing. People point out things to you that are so obvious, like, really? You're gonna tell me that I'm tall, okay? Whatever. But anyway, so the reason that I'm talking about that, like, the disregard for life, like, you have to understand, everybody was made in the image of God, right? So we're all created in the image of God. Imagine if you see Jesus face to face and he looks like that person that you bully for so many years. Like, are you kidding me? Let me know how that conversation goes. You have to be so careful, right? And you have to be also so careful how you comment on somebody's photo, especially, right? Because let me tell you, before I post any of these Bible verses that I come here and post, it takes me a lot. Sometimes it takes me about 5 times. I'm not saying that somebody was rude to me, nothing like that, but I'm just giving an example from me. Like, that 30-second reel that I do from the Bible verses, I know I have an accent. Some of the words I can't pronounce well. I just go with the flow. And I'm like, I hope they get it. I'll try to use the caption just so that they know I'm not misinterpreting the Bible, right? Because that's very important. That's so important for me. So before I even post all of that, like, it goes through me trying it like 5 to 10 times. Sometimes making sure the music is good, the light, the sound, all of that. So imagine somebody posting just a photo on Instagram. Like before you like you don't know if 40 photos if came before they selected that one that you decided to just leave a main comment on. You have to understand everybody's just trying to do their best at their life. Okay, so comments and negative things they have to stop. We need to be more have more compassion for people and be so careful and just understand that everybody's creating the image of God with a purpose too, right? And just because they look always happy and strong doesn't mean that they don't go home and cry, right? And that's what we were saying about Shirley Chris, right? 'Cause she always looks so happy, and people were like, "Well, we never had any idea, you know." We didn't know she was like having depression, nothing like that. And it's so crazy that I'm talking about her. I wasn't even gonna mention her that much, but going back to the case space situation, right, that happened over the weekend, these big companies they see you as a brand, and this is why even though like I in my YouTube channel I talk about a lot of artists and how they a lot of them sell their soul for fame and fortune, right? I understand like they enter this contract, right? And they have to abide by it, and it's so hard to sometimes to for them to get out, and sometimes it's impossible. And this company that they sign contract with, they become a slave to them, right? And I don't know that marketing, like how far on the top tier, like it went to that nobody could just say, hey, maybe that's the wrong type of choice of words that you're using in this marketing campaign. If it was like somebody new who did that or something, like that tells even she worked so hard all her life, she died, right? And now, she's still making money. Like that's what I always mention, guys, about Selena Quintanilla. So many years after dying. Like her family is trying to make her relevant, even though she died so many years ago because she was a brand name. She's the income maker for her family and for many other people that she probably signed contracts with. And to see what Ultra Cosmetic did, of course they have to apologize, right? It's gonna affect their business. If they don't send out an apology, like, are you kidding me? They will probably be having protests or something, right? So they're gonna retract and take that back as soon as possible before something else happens, right? So, you know, all these companies, you sign with them and all of that, and then they use you into they no longer need you, right? And then mistakes like this happen, and then they advertise your name on an email, and then that's it. Like, sorry about that. We didn't mean it or whatever. One other person I want to talk to you guys about today was about if you guys are into fashion, you know about him because speaking about the Met Gala, right? This man, Andrew Leontali, right, who passed away this year. um, he was a big personality in fashion and also the Met Gala, right? Speaking of which is happening today. And the sad thing about him, I also did a couple videos on the YouTube channel, so I recommend you guys go ahead and look at that. My YouTube channel is JulissaDesigns. But the sad thing about him, like how did this man go from being on the front row of fashion, right? Like that, you will see his face everywhere. You will see him everywhere. Like people, the industry uses you until they no longer need you, and you're like history. Okay. And one thing that not a lot of people mention, Vogue magazine, in their Twitter account, right? I told you guys I'm always on Twitter. When he died, they like it wasn't like a second after it was announced that Andrew Leontali passed away. They posted on their Twitter main page, official with the blue check mark, Vogue magazine posted something about goodbye bad vibes. And I screenshotted that because how dare they do that? And then they want to probably say, like this person on Ulta, like, oh, it was just a mistake. I've never heard an apology from Vogue magazine. We know he was in charge of Vogue magazine at some point. He was good friend with that lady. What's her name? What was the name? The fashion lady. Um, Anna Wintour. Yeah. So you will see in all the fashion shows, right? And so many things that he done, so many documentaries, books, all of that, right? And then the sad thing about him, and then after he passed, everything was like he was dealing with something regarding his house, right? This man has such a great career in fashion, okay? and he was living in a house owned by the ex-CEO of Manolo Blahnik Shoes in here in Westchester County. And like, that's crazy. And he was living in somebody else's home that he somehow made an agreement that he will be renting from them, and then eventually it will be his house. And then in 2020, I think the battle began that they were trying to get him to move out, even though he was there for over a decade. And that is just so sad that, if anything I learned from that is like, get your own house, you know what I mean? um that way nobody can come and take you out of your own house, like, you know what I mean? Like, this, how do you make a deal with somebody and say, yeah, I'm going to stay in your house, and he actually said it on TV many times. He said, it was just a deal that we made, you'll stay in this house and all of that. Do we understand that people take their, sometimes they say something to you and they're like, I'm taking that back or whatever. But like, that can happen with like a bag that you lend somebody, a book, or like the place where you're living. Man, you better make sure that's on paper. You don't want to do this verbal agreement. This is the house that you're living in, right? Like, you don't want to be taking that so lightly like that. Even if the person has $3 million, $10 million, a billionaire, doesn't need the house, at some point they'll come back for it, and you gotta make sure that's you have that like written contract. So that's what happened to him. And I thought, the way he died was, it was just crazy. How it goes to show you, right? He went from being at the Met Gala, right? If he was alive, I know he stopped doing that because he actually complained about it. Excuse me. And he actually complained. He said that they decided, after so many years that he did the Met Gala and all of that, red carpet events, they rather hire an influencer and pay them, twice, just because of, the people that they influence people, right? And they're more like new and upcoming than him. And if he was able to say that publicly, you can imagine what his mind, like, when he was like by himself, was going through, what he was thinking about. And then for him to be in this legal battle where the place that he was staying in, because it wasn't under his name. If it's not under your name, it's never like, you know what I mean? Like, it's never yours. Especially, don't do deals like that when you're like, you know, oh yeah, that's what he said. We're gonna, I was gonna stay in this house. Yeah, if it's not under your name, it's never your house. Like, it sounds so weird for me to say that, but I hope you guys understand. But anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. Over 400 people here. Thank you so much, means a lot. Go check out the store, okay? My name is Julissa, by the way. I had to come here and tell you guys about that. I was praying earlier because I'm like, I've been talking a lot about what I do. I don't like to speak that much about what I do and things like that. And then, God, what do you want me to talk about today? Like, I don't even know. And then, I saw the news about K Spade, and I figured, it's fashion related. Maybe not a lot of people heard about it, but, you know, the way they send out that marketing, that tells you how they use you until they no longer need you. You're a name brand, so they're gonna use you. Look at Selena Quintanilla. She's been used for like how many years after this lady died, and they're still making it seem like she's relevant. So many years after she, like, are you kidding me? That tells you it's the brand, okay? The brand. And then they have all these people admiring somebody who died. Like, I'm not gonna get into it, but anyways. um And then the Andrew Lee and Tally situation, when I saw that post on the official Twitter account for Vogue magazine, and we know this man worked at Vogue, right? And we know that he was good friend with Anna Winter, the director of Vogue magazine. And for them, like, it was announced, he was trending, I remember. So I go on Twitter immediately. That's how I know that they're trending. So I go on Twitter, and then immediately Vogue magazine is gonna post a tweet saying goodbye, bad vibes. I think that's how you say it. And I was like, how disrespectful is that? Because this is the thing with people, right? You can do 10 million favors for somebody. Like, you can ask people, you can say yes 10 times to somebody. The minute they ask you again, you say, I'm sorry, I'm doing something today, I cannot make it. You're a horrible person. It's like, what happened to the history that I have with you? Like, I've been so faithful. This one time I cannot do it. And now I'm like, I'm the worst person in the world. Like, are you kidding me? That always happens, right? Like, you have to always look, you know, the people loyalty, right? If somebody worked in a company for 10 years and they were a good employee, yes, at the end we had an argument, but their time here was good, then take the positive out of it. Okay? Like, I don't understand how people just are gonna be like posting things like that so negatively, especially if somebody's who's so public, right? And the way he just died unexpectedly, right? Nobody knew he was sick. He wasn't sick. Like, they announced somebody who's sick or something. Oh, Bruce Willis, right? So, now the world knows that he's battling something, some type of disease right now, right? So, anyways, it's just crazy. The disregard for human life is just, people like to go undercover on social media and put mean comments. It's like, really? You can hide yourself, but God sees everything. You never know, right? God is watching everything. But anyways, anybody has a question for me? Thank you guys so much for being here. It means a lot to me. And I know it's a different type of message. Um, I just wanted to say hi to everybody. I have to be careful. I have to keep talking because of the music, because YouTube will just cancel me completely. The message here. Hi everybody. Thank you so much for being here. So anyways, what I was thinking about earlier today, you know, about your gifts and talents. I gotta keep talking because of that. So the gifts and talents, right? And using your talents to glorify God, which is like number one. Like, going back to the Megala, like, I never like it never had caught my attention to even be interested in that. Maybe Julissa 10 years ago when I was into buy, like, I used to go and buy every magazine, right? Even when I went to Milan, and I remember one thing that we had an assignment in Milan, right? And they were like, you guys need to get magazines." And I was like, I know my favorites and all of that. Like, I was so crazy into that, and just to see like the designer collections that they were coming out for, and I was like, I wanted Vogue Italia. It was like the biggest magazine ever, and it was the most expensive. And I was like, I need it, though. I need to have it. And it's so crazy. Like, these days now, magazines come in and I just dump it in the garbage. Like, once I knew that you can put your magazine on the iPad, I don't need more paper. It's so crazy. I'm like, I don't need any more paper. Like, this is when WWD magazine also, like, when they made it like electronically, I was like, what's the point of receiving that huge thing? Like, for what? I only want a copy if I'm in it, right? If they're publishing some of my work, that's when I want a copy. Everything else can just can be in the iPad. That's it. I don't even, I'm not a big reader either. So that makes a lot more sense probably to just get them electronically. But, you know, um, God will open the way. Like, if you have a dream or something that you wanted to do, like I said yesterday in many of my videos, you gotta start somewhere. There's so many places. Like, the world is waiting for you to take action. Believe it or not, you can. If you're a singer, anything, you can volunteer at least. The nursing home patients, right? Like, they're there every single day. You can volunteer and go play your guitar when they're having their lunch, anything like that in the dining room, anything. Just like I'm doing right now with the music. Like, imagine like the atmosphere, like they're eating and you are playing something for them. There's so many opportunities. If you know how to make stuff like jewelry or something, you can teach somewhere at the library or something. Summer camps are coming up, anything like that. Also, start a YouTube channel. People will watch you from the entire world, right? Show them how to do stuff, things like that. There's so much need, okay? And yet the world is waiting. Like, a lot of the times we think that our our dream will only work if it's done in the such a high um, scale. But a lot of the times, it's not necessarily that. I used to volunteer for this group here in Danbury, where I used to like, well, by the way, I gotta say, I love kids. So when I used to work, I used to be at this church, right? And they made me director of the children's ministry. So you can only imagine, right? But it was a lot of kids, different ages, and it was a small church, so it's not like they had a big space. And I had to like separate the room into the little kids from the big kids. And like I will be teaching the Bible lessons, and the little kids will come up to me to show me their drawing, if you call that a drawing. But I had to like stop the class and react to them because they needed my attention. And it was just so crazy. Like little things like that, it's just you find such a great fulfillment out of it. It doesn't have to be in the biggest church ever. Like any like 2 hours that you have out of your time of the weekend that you can serve somebody else, there's a lot of volunteer work. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself. I tend to a lot of the times do a lot of work at the studios. You guys know, like creating a lot of stuff for the studio and just focus so much on that. But I need to go back and do a lot of my other volunteer works. There was another organization here in Danbury where I would volunteer, like it was like twice a month. And like I will babysit so that the moms can have their time in Bible prayer and all of that. And that was also fun. 2 hours out of your day, just helping somebody, and you don't have to be like, I remember we would just play games with the kids, and some of them were so little and they just want to be held. And then at one point, like they all want to be held, and you had like two babies like with you. Like I don't have any kids, but it was just so cute, like to have them all like crying for me, because it's like I just met you, like really. But they miss their mom, so that's why they wanted somebody with them. It's so cute. But I like now I'm thinking about it, I'm like I'll probably go back to doing that, but it was just a lot of fun. So, like a lot of the times people expect you to use your gifts and talent to such a high scale. And you can start small. You don't have to go, oh, I want to be a fashion designer. Okay. And people will be like, are you going to be in New York next year? Like, that's what they used to tell me, and I'm like, I don't even have a collection. Or I would be like, I don't even have a mannequin, right? Speaking of, I also donated more today, thank God. Clearing more stuff out that I haven't used. At one point, I found a mannequin and I was like, wow, I didn't even know I still had this. It's been years. See, like stuff accumulates a lot and very quickly. So, if anything you can learn from this life that I've been doing, go out there, search your house. If you have anything that you haven't used, let's just say in 2, 3 years, it has to go. Like it really, like sometimes you look at even like photograph, like I told you guys. Some of the posters, I don't know who's making noise. Some of the posters are like I will look at and I will be like, wow, it looks so old, even though it wasn't done that far long ago. But the photograph, they stay in that time where they were taken, and within 2 years, it looks so old. Even the same thing with like videos and things like that. You know, it's just the time lapse so fast, and it shows. Okay, it really shows. Uh, Thank you guys so much for being here with me. It means a lot. Hopefully I'll come back tomorrow, and I'll do it probably around the same time, 10 p.m. But I just wanted to share all of that with you guys. Just if anything, you're gonna be like, let's be kind. Like, don't assume anything about anybody. Learn to try to always get to know people, because assumption, like I said many times, it kills relationship before they even begin. If God had put a desire on you to work with somebody, this is what people do. And they'll be like, oh, we didn't ask you because we thought you would be too shy for that. Or we asked your friend, and they actually say, like, if God said, go ask that person, go to the source. Stop trying to get like opinions from their friends or the people that they hang out with. Go to the source and ask, because that's the only way you're going to get the true response, right? And don't assume anything. Okay, like don't assume anything, like just ask people, because a lot of the times we either project on people. That's horrible too. We project things, and I'll be like, I was never thinking anything like that. I'm not like that. That's not. You should have asked me, I would have come or something. So always, think always start by thinking the best of people. I'm not saying I'm perfect, nothing like that. I also have to learn a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to that assumption. What I notice is that it really kills relationship before they begin. People assume stuff instead of asking first and finding out, and then or they get somebody else's opinion of you before even coming to ask you anything, right? And then you'll see it because at some point everything shows, right? And like I was saying about people who money is not the happiness is never in the money, guys. Sometimes there's a lot of people, like I said, who are very rich. They cannot go down the supermarket on their own because they have to watch every step. Like speaking about that, I just watched a clip today. I don't know if it was posted on Twitter or not, but I watched this clip today. Of Jeff Bezos was in New York, right? This man, Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, the creator, he was leaving a store in New York City, and this man just was just walking out of the store. He had like 10 security guards. It feel like he has so much paparazzi, and then the people, the fans around him. Like, can you imagine that? Like, really? That's crazy. Everywhere you go, like, I don't know how people deal with that. It's crazy. And people will be like, well, he has all the money in the world. Money is not going to find happiness. True happiness comes from the Lord and only the Lord. There's a lot of people with money, and then we see things, cases like I mentioned already, that you people will be like, I never knew this person was dealing with something. It's not in the money. It never is. What good is it gonna do for you to have so much money, have no peace, right? And have no future. Like, you don't know where you're gonna go when you die. Nothing like that, right? So what's the point of having all of that if you cannot even enjoy it, right? You cannot go outside and be around people. You have to watch your house 24/7 because you're afraid somebody might break in because they know you're a famous multimillionaire person. Like, it's crazy. You just never, you know, money's not gonna find you happiness like that. I'm not saying that it's bad to have money, nothing like that, but I'm saying like that's not the priority in life. Even though everybody just, have that goal, and people, society has trained us to believe that, right? And we mentally also, once I get that job where I can get a lot of money, and if I sell this thing, I'm gonna have so much money. And once I get that car, have you ever bought a car? Right? Like when you buy a car, you're like, I can't wait to get my new car. Like, I'm getting it this week. Let me tell you, cars, to be honest, cars are a problem on their own, new or old. Like, there's always something going on, right? Like, I'm here for my oil change. I don't want to hear nothing. Cars are a problem. Like, I've seen so many people who buy new cars or fairly used cars, and there's always something, right? But we need them, right? We need them every day. All I'm saying, like, we think in our head, once I get that car, man, it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna go everywhere, and then anything can happen, right? So what am I saying? Enjoy the moment that you have in front of you. Um, that's all we have, right? Thanks be to God that we have a new month ahead of us. Anything, we have so many plans. God has so many plans for us. So I always say, let this be the will of God, okay? Everything, like anything can happen, right? You just never know. So that's why not just enjoy the moment for what it is. So nobody's commenting anything. Am I? You guys are just hearing me talk. Thank you so much for being here, or 400 plus of you guys. Means a lot to me. I'm gonna see how YouTube is doing here. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Means a lot that you guys are here. Thank you so much for the hearts. And you know, I'll see what else I'm gonna come back and talk to you guys about it tomorrow. But like I said, you can follow me on YouTube. Um, I'll probably make a video later today. The night is not over yet because of everything that's happening. Like I mentioned, beginning of this live about the Supreme Court. I mean, I'm like trying to get more details before I even say anything specifically about it. Right? The only thing I know that as of right now in the Supreme Court, they're putting out barricades. Right? Oh, I know what I'm going to talk about before I end. Right? I gotta say, we need to pray about the people in Shanghai because the videos that are coming out of there are so scary. Like people are desperate. They have such a strict lockdown right now that they're putting barricades on their people's apartments to keep them from leaving. Are you serious? Like that goes hand in hand with the whole idea about, you know, there's such a disregard for human life. Like, what is going on in the world that they're lacking people in their own apartments? That people are crying saying they don't have any food. These are people that were just going to work a month ago, living the normal life that we are, right? Going to work, starting a new month, nothing, and then everything changed for them. We cannot ignore like the world, okay? We are called to pray for our brothers and sisters, right? And that's why sometimes, I it was a time when everything was really bad, right? I don't know if it was like the beginning of the pandemic or when they had all the protests and all of that stuff. I just feel so convicted for posting stuff on Instagram about my branding and things like that. And I'm like, the world is falling apart in front of us. I don't want to post the outfit of the day. Like there has to be some type of conscious mind of you to just take a moment to pause and be like, you know what? I need to pay attention to what's happening right now, right? Because even if it's not happening outside my window, it's affecting my brothers and sisters, right? So, and you just never know, right? Just because that's what we thought when the pandemic started, we're like, oh, that's over there. That's never coming here, right? And then look what happened. Like this over there, they're always wearing masks, right? That we would never do that. And then look what happened. So, looking at Shanghai, right, and everything that's going on over there, this morning I woke up to those videos. I was like, this is so scary. They're desperate. They, like somebody said that she lives in this apartment building, and that's all she hears. Like people will use their pots and pan, and they start hitting it, crying out every other hour, trying to get the government to stop these lockdowns. Okay, and it's like I always say, the more you're trying to control something, the more it's going to spread. So, what do, right? So, you have to understand that everybody's an adult, right? And sometimes you have to just face life for what it is, right? And you have to understand that trying to control somebody, you do more damage, right? It's like staying with somebody who's just trying to control you is making more damage, right? Why don't you just free yourself from that, right? So this whole idea, like I understand the levels over there are so high. This is why they're taking such a strict measure, but not everybody has it. So why not give the freedom to these people, right? And just treat the other people at the hospitals like what that's what people do. Why you have to lock people up in their apartments? People are like they're not getting food. They're buying food from their neighbors, and when I say food, they're not buying like a full run of groceries. They're getting like two potatoes, a couple of eggs. Like that's so scary. Like that's crazy to be locked up in your own home for like it's been over 40 plus days already. The desperation for these people, and now they're going to the bottom of the buildings trying to barricade their entrance. Like wow. So, if anything, you guys want to pray for them tonight, I'll be praying for them too. Because I always say, just because it's not happening outside our window doesn't mean that we shouldn't have compassion for them, okay? If anything, we should be more concerned, because these are our brothers and sisters, right? Regardless, right? So, anyways, anybody has a question for me? Thank you so much for your time and listening to me over here. And I just wanted to share that with you. I know I wanted to talk about Shanghai, so thank you, Jesus, for reminding me because I was almost finishing. But I just wanted to come here and say, I am still doing the fundraising for New Year Fashion Week. The link is in the bio. Okay, as you guys just heard me say, more than ever, I think it's so necessary for me to share the gospel with my gifts and talents. um I have to it's so crazy because I have to manage all this social media. So I know people been leaving comments on. I made a video about can a Christian be a fashion designer on YouTube. I made that a couple years ago. Now recently it's getting some type of track, so I gotta go respond to messages over there. Because when I used to say to people, especially in the church, right, my fellow Christians, I would say I always wanted to be a fashion designer. This is how crazy it is, right? Like they always be like, "Do you really think that's what God wants you to do?" Like I have a problem with that, okay? And I thought I was done talking, but the church, for some reason, only validates guitar players, singers, and what else? And people who are actors, right? If you want to do some type of other type of talent, do you really think that's what God wants you to do? God can use you in any way, right? He equips you with, there's so many different talents, okay? God can use you anyway. Just because you're not a singer or a musician, right, or you don't play an instrument, doesn't mean that God didn't give you a talent that you should be using for His glory. I will always get this side look when I used to say, yeah, I want to be a fashion designer. And they were like, do you really think that's where God wants you to be? Like, what does that mean? You want me to go now, right? And sign your book, but I cannot be a fashion designer. I'm supposed to go over there and look at your YouTube channel, you worshiping and singing, but I'm not supposed to be a fashion designer for the glory of God. There's something wrong with that, okay? And the thing with that, they disregard you as somebody who's perhaps some type of going the wrong way, right? Who's not, God will never call you to be a fashion designer and things like that. And, and that affects you, but thank God it hasn't affected me. I just keep going, right? But I'm saying, like, not everybody who is a Christian is called to just sing, play the guitar, or be an actor, or write a book. There's so many other talents that God gives. I mean, come on, look at this world. God created the universe. He created all of us so uniquely made. Everybody's so uniquely made. Everybody has so many different gifts and talents. So don't bash anybody's talent, right? Don't say somebody's better just because they get to sing on the stage than the other person behind, like managing the light, right? Anybody can do it. Like I mean, not everybody, but everybody is called to different things, right? And the other thing that people will do when they see like, oh, you so I could never do that. Well, I'm just, of course you can. That's not your calling, right? I can never be like a singer because that's not my calling, and everybody knows that I cannot sing, okay? But I'm saying like you appreciate everybody's talent. That's how life is all about, right? Appreciate what everybody has to give. Let me tell you, the Bible says, Jesus said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. People think sometimes that Jesus is only building a house for themselves. Like, we're all going, like, come down. There's, Jesus said there are many mansions. He's building a house for all of us. Like, sometimes, it's like the selective few. Like, that's why I don't like church cliques. You see the worship thing over there. It's always hanging out after service. Nobody else is allowed to break into that group. I don't like that, but I don't want to get into it, guys. It's 11 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining me here in this live. I really appreciate you guys being here. You have no idea. Like I said, I've been praying. God, lead me. What is it that you want me to say? What is it that's going on? What is it that you're doing? I came from just like, you know, I'm like, everything I post online has to be edited. I used to get so nervous. My first live here on Instagram, I would be shaking. Like, it's so crazy, and we'll see what God is doing. Like, I will be so nervous I will have to stop or like randomly stop it completely. But it does means a lot to me to see you guys here still. Over 400 people watching and seeing what I have to say means a lot. And I hope you're here because you are learning something. And if you want to share something with me, go ahead and do that. And nothing. Thank you guys so much for being here. Nobody has a comment for me. I don't even know if I'm doing this right. Um, That's the store. The fundraising is going on for New Year Fashion Week, and we'll see where God is leading me to do. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope everybody has a good night. And if you guys want to watch any of the videos of the people that I mentioned today, the Case Bay, I think I made a video about her. Case Bay, Andrew Lee and Tally, and you can see what Vogue posted about, goodbye, bad wife. The same minute that they announced that he died, I posted that because that has to be like marked because for future reference, just so that you don't do things like that. So that's why I posted it. Okay, I screenshot it and I'm like, I have to post it on my on this video so people can see it too. Because not a lot of people want to talk about it. Like I said, the industry uses you until they no longer need you, and then you're like nothing. Like you say just to them favors in that day that you cannot make one, they're like, oh, okay, you're horrible. Say, what happened with my my track record with you? I've been so faithful. This day I can. So now you don't need me. Like so crazy. But I guess that's how life is. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope everybody has a great night. Okay. And if, like I said, if you want to know more about me, go to JulissaDesigns.com. And God bless everybody.